Good morning, friends. This morning's prelude was Find That Hidden Melody. Did you find it? Did you find Billy Joel? He was in there. We're going to sing our morning song this morning will be out of the Teal hymn book, hymn number 1011, Return Again. The slides will project up front if you want to just watch the lyrics. If you want to follow the melody, it's in the book. And for those of you online, you can find the lyrics posted in the chat. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again, return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. It's a nice little chant. Maybe just to go into your own head and your own heart and invite yourself. But you're also here with other people. So you might look around right now. Smile at somebody, make eye contact. You'll never have a more rewarding experience singing than singing while you're looking into someone else's eyes. And they will receive your singing without any judgment. It's not a competition. So let's try singing to each other. What a strange thing. Now that we've got those lyrics up there, we just sing to the screen. Let's sing to each other. I'll help you out if you forget the words. Here we go. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. And you might even smile while you're looking in their eyes. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again, return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. One more, here we go. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Isn't that great to sing to each other? Thank you. Please have a seat.
Good morning. Welcome to the Olympia UU congregation. Our community envisions an interconnected world that is loving, just, and healthy. We commit to live out our mission, to welcome and wonder, embrace and empower, bridge and become. Thank you for joining us today. You are welcome here just as you are, whatever beliefs sustain you, whomever you love, however you understand and express your identity. And in all the ways you're still becoming the person you will be. My name is Des McGarren. I use he, him pronouns, and I am a member of the worship arts team. Leading worship with me today is Reverend Sara Lewis, the Director of Director of Community and Faith Development, and Troy Fisher, our Music Director. Here are a few things you should know about our service today. We are streaming live on Zoom and YouTube, and the service is being recorded. For those here in the sanctuary, you can see subtitles on the screen in front or on Zoom if you're online. Over here, we have soft chairs and activities if you're interested. We are a multi-generational community, and we welcome the company of youth, babies, kids, teens, right here in the sanctuary. There is also nursery care and a storytime program for children in the classroom wing. We are grateful for the many hands that helped make worship happen this morning. Thank you to all who contribute in so many ways. After the service, everyone will have the chance to discuss reflection questions offered by Reverend Sara. Or for those online, we invite you to go into a breakout room for a virtual coffee chat. For those in person, feel free to stay for coffee and fellowship in the Commons. There are many things happening at OUUC. Check out the Tuesday electronic update or the website for the most up-to-date information. Now, let us open our hearts and minds as we prepare for worship. It is good to be together. This morning, we join Unitarian-Universalist congregations around the world in lighting a chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition. If you are online and have a chalice or candle, please join me as we light them together with the words of Karishma Gottfried. Each of us was created in the image of love. Wherever we come from, wherever we're going, whoever we are, whomever we love. We proclaim with love on our side. Our bodies are sacred. Our minds are blessed. Our spirits are beloved. May we be open to receive more love. Always more love. And we light this candle in honor of Reverend Mary Gear, our settled minister, on this, her 7th week of sabbatical. We light our candle here each week to help us sustain our bond with her and stay present to the spirit of renewal. We know her matching candle will light her way home to us come November.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Sara. I use she, her pronouns. I am a middle-aged white woman with dark brown hair wearing a sleeveless black dress and a purple stole today with my reading glasses perched on the tip of my nose. Our opening words are offered by Sean Neil Barron. Your body is welcome here. Your body is welcome here, all of it. Yes, even that part. And that part. And yes, even that part. The parts you love, the parts you don't. For in this place we come with all that we are, and all that we have been, and all that we are going to be. Our bodies are constantly changing. Cells die and cells are reborn. We respond to infections and diseases. Sometimes we can divorce them from our bodies, and other times they become permanently a part of us. Your body and all that is within it, both wanted and not wanted, has a place here. Our bodies join in a web of co-creation, created and creating, constantly changing us. Scarred and tattooed, tense and relaxed, diseased and cured, unfamiliar and intimate. Formed in infinite diversity of creation, your body is welcome here, all of it. So take a moment and welcome it. Take a moment to feel. Take a moment to be. Come, let us worship together.
And since your voice is an extension of your body, I would say all of that applies to singing. So I invite you to rise in body and our spirit, and let's sing together again. Hymn number 317, We Are Not Our Own. Sorry, my book wasn't open. We are not our own, earth forms us, human leaves on
So one day, a whole flock of sheep was coming home, looking forward to sleeping in their warm barn for the night, all except for Matko. The farm had recently put in a new gate, and it was too narrow. Matko couldn't get through it. And so as all the other sheep went in to sleep in the barn, Matko was left out, left to sleep alone outdoors. Yeah, really unfair, super bummer. Matko was not happy about this. This had been going on for a while now. What could Matko do? Well, the other sheep were not short on advice. First up was Yoga Sheep. Yoga Sheep, yep. Yoga Sheep. Yoga Sheep said, "Have you tried yoga?" "Why, I love yoga. It's done wonders for me. You really should do it." Matko said, "Okay, I'll try it." And did. So Matko began to do yoga. Thank you so much, Yoga Sheep. But having done so much yoga, still could not fit through the gate. Well, Swimming Sheep also had advice to give. Swimming Sheep came along and said, "I love my daily swim. Oh my gosh, I'm always out there swimming and it makes me feel great. And I'm sure that if you did swimming too, you would then down to get through the gate." So Matko said, "Oh, okay, I guess I'll do swimming also." So began doing yoga and swimming every day. Thank you, Swimming Sheep. Still couldn't get through the gate. Well, Jogging Sheep had some advice to give as well. Jogging Sheep was very, very energetic and said, "Guess what? Guess what? I love to jog. I'm doing it every day. You should join me. We will definitely jog all around." And so Matko's like, "All right, I'll do that. Thank you, Jogging Sheep. Yes." And began to do yoga and swimming and jogging every day. Still couldn't get through the gate. Even Bicycle Bunny got in on giving advice. Bicycle Bunny came along with a brand new bicycle and said, "I am just loving my bicycle. Do you have a bicycle? You should totally try a bicycle. Why, it has changed my life and I love bicycling and you should try it." Bicycle Bunny was a little manic and yep. Very, very full of energy. So Matko said, "Okay, yes, I too I will begin to bicycle as well. Thank you, Bicycle Bunny." But guess what? Although some of these things were fun, and some of these things did feel like a good thing to do, Matko still couldn't get through the gate. And this began to really make Matko just so frustrated. And so Matko thought and thought and thought, and then came up with an idea and went off for a while. And when they came back, they had tools. The next day, all the sheep woke up together in the barn. And the other sheep were so surprised. "Matko, you're with us. Why, how did you get through the gate? Did you slim down?" Matko said, "No, I made the gate wider." Thus ends our story.
Each Sunday, we engage in the spiritual practices of generosity and gratitude by joining together in service to our community and to something greater than ourselves. We each have the power to share, and when we combine our gifts to create an offering, together we are able to do more than any of us can do alone. We also express our gratitude for the gifts that life has given us, for the network of relationships in which we live, and for the presence of this community. If you are new or visiting us for the first or second time, you are a welcome guest with no expectation to contribute. However, if you are moved to be part of our offering, what you share will be most gratefully received. Our weekly offering collected here is helpful in two ways. It supplements our regular pledges, which supports the ongoing work of our congregation. It also supports an organization that serves our community in harmony with our Unitarian Universalist values. Our Share the Plate organization for July and August is the South Sound Reading Foundation. This is what they share about their work.
Hello, Olympia Unitarian Universalist congregation. I'm Jennifer Williamson Forster, and I have the best job in the world because I get to work at the South Sound Reading Foundation. At the Reading Foundation, we educate families about the importance of reading. We get kids excited about reading through our reading engagement programming, like story times and book talks. But we're most known for our free books for kids programming. These are books kids get to choose, keep, read, reread, and cherish. Our program relies heavily on donated books, and we rarely receive bilingual books or books that reflect the rich diversity of our community. Your Share the Plate funding will allow us to purchase books, some bilingual and all featuring diverse characters that reflect and resonate with the children, youth, and families we serve. I have a cold, so I apologize. Often the children who need access to books most do not have it. Here's a statistic. 61% of low-income households have no age-appropriate books in the home. Research shows that access to books, especially ones that interest and reflect the reader, improve reading and reading outcomes, which impact school performance, graduation rates, and lifetime earnings. Access to books is key. So thank you to the Share the Plate Committee and everyone at the Olympia Unitarian Universalist congregation for helping us get great, high-interest, diverse books to kids in our community who need them most. Now, before I sign off, here are some ways you can support our important literacy work. I should say some other ways. 1, donate children's books or host a book drive. We are in desperate need of bilingual books and diverse books, but also board books, beginning readers, and graphic novels. 2, promote us on social media. That's easy. 3, volunteer. Help us process books, deliver books, or join us at one of our many community events where we're sharing books with children and youth in our community. And number 4, help us by getting the children in your life to become strong readers. You could do this by 1, reading with them 20 minutes a day, which is our motto. 2, giving them books on special occasions like birthdays and the holidays. And 3, this is a really hard one, normalize reading for them. Show them that you love reading. And if they see the adults in their life reading for pleasure, they'll develop a love of reading. So that's it. Thank you all and happy reading adventures.
May the offering now be generously given as it is gratefully received.
When I go for a drive, I like to pull off to the side of the road, turn out the lights, get out and look up at the sky. And I do this to remind me that I'm really, really tiny in the grand scheme of things. And sometimes this terrifies me, but it's only really scary 'cause it makes me feel serene in a way I never thought I'd be, because I've never been so grounded and so humbled and so one with everything. I am grounded, I am humbled, I am one with everything. Rock and roll is fun, but if you ever hear someone say you are huge, look at the moon, look at the stars, look at the sun, look at the ocean and the desert and the mountains and the sky. Say I am just a speck of dust inside a giant's eye. I am just a speck of dust inside a giant's eye. When I saw Genevieve, I really liked it when she said what she said about the giant and the lemmings on the cliff. She said, I like giants, especially girl giants, 'cause all girls feel too big sometimes, regardless of their size. When I go for a drive, I like to pull off to the side of the road and run and jump into the ocean in my clothes. And I'm smaller than a poppy seed inside a great big bowl. And the ocean is a giant that could swallow me whole. So I swim for all salvation and I swim to save my soul. But my soul is just a whisper trapped inside a tornado. So I flip to my back and I float and I sing. I am grounded, I am humbled, I am one with everything. I am grounded, I am humbled, I am one with everything. I talked to Genevieve and almost cried when she said that the giant on the cliff wished that she was dead, and the lemmings on the cliff wished that they were dead. So the giant told the lemmings why they ought to live instead. When she thought up all those reasons that they ought to live instead, it made her reconsider all the sad thoughts in her head. So thank you, Genevieve, 'cause you take what is in your head and you make things that are so beautiful and share them with your friends. We all become important when we realize our goal should be to figure out our role within the context of the whole. And rock and roll is fun, but if you ever hear someone say you are huge, look at the moon, look at the stars, look at the sun, look at the ocean and the desert and the mountains and the sky. Say, I am just a speck of dust inside a giant's eye. I am just a speck of dust inside a giant's eye. I am just a speck of dust inside a giant's eye. And I don't want to make her cry, 'cause I like giants.
Thank you so much, Joy and Rosie. And thank you all for your generous gifts. We came together this morning bringing all that is in our lives. Let's open our hearts to the complexity of life as we place stones in the water of community. You will hear a drum beat as we share today. It brings into our awareness that our individual hearts beat, and together we create the heartbeat of community. Right now, I invite you to take a breath as we open our hearts to receive the complexity of all that is in our lives and communities today. For those online, I invite you to share from your heart by entering in the chat. Your shares will be visible on the screen in the sanctuary. And for those in person today, I invite you to come forward if there is something that you would like to bring into this community. You may place a stone into the water as you hold your sharing in your heart. Please come up through the side aisle and return by the center aisle. Let us hear the heartbeat of our community and reach out our hearts in love and care to all those who share. We place a stone in the water for all that has been shared online, shared from the heart. And we place one more stone in the water for all that we hold in our hearts and that remains unspoken. Please be in whatever way is comfortable for you for prayer and meditation. I invite you to get comfortable for a quick little body gratitude meditation. If you're comfortable letting your eyes close, I invite you to do so. And begin by taking a few deep, cleansing breaths. And then I invite you to notice your feet. You may want to move them. You may want to wiggle your toes. Just notice your feet. Say thank you. If there is pain or there is hurt there, send it some love. Your feet do so much for you. And then I invite you to bring your attention up from your feet to your legs. Notice how they feel. If there's pain or there is hurt or tension, send it some love. Say thank you to your legs. And then bring your attention up to your seat, to your pelvis. Notice how it feels. If there's pain, there's tension, there is fatigue, send it some love. And say thank you for this part of your body too. And then notice your belly and all of your internal organs doing so many important things. Notice how it feels. If there's pain, there's tension, send it some love. And say thank you. Thank you for all this important parts of your body. And then draw your attention to your back and up your spine. If it is sore or painful, send it some love. Say thank you for all that your spine and your back does. And then to your ribs and your lungs and your chest and your heart. Notice if there is pain or tension, again, send love there. And say thank you for all that your heart beats, all that your lungs breathe, all that your ribs hold. And then bring your attention up to your shoulders and out to your arms. You may want to shrug them. You may want to wiggle your arms. If there is pain or tension, send it love and say thank you. And notice your hands and your fingers. If there is pain or tension, send it love and say thank you for all that your hands do and hold and all that they have done and held. And then bring your attention up to your neck and your throat. Notice the air passing through your throat. If there is pain or tension, send it love and say thank you. And finally, bring your attention up to your faces and your head. If you are holding little muscles in your face in funny ways, let them relax. If there is pain or tension, send it love and say thank you. And continuing to hold our bodies in love and gratitude, let us have a minute of silence together.
I invite you to remain seated. Let's sing this lovely prayer together. Hymn number 218, Who Can Say? Who can say I am free? I have purified my great heart. There is none on earth. There is none on earth. A new heart I will give, not stone, but one that's free. A new heart I will give, and one that frees. May this day make us strong, like a tree of life with good fruit. Bless us now. Bless us now, amen. May we not forgive, but know that we may live. May we now forgive, that we may
Today's first reading is from the book, The Body is Not an Apology, by Sonia Renee Taylor. The notion of taking up too much space is born out of a framework of scarcity upon which we have built a world where some people are allowed to build skyscrapers and stadiums, or run countries and make laws for the masses, while others are told to stay small, go unnoticed, don't take up too much room on the sidewalk. But only some of us receive that message. We have yet to collectively tell Amazon gazillionaire Jeff Bezos or Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg, hey buddy, you're just taking up too much space. Space is infinite, and yet it is possible to be out of balance. With canyon-sized wealth gaps feeding the global poverty, but not bellies, billionaires are out of balance. Those of us who believe we do not have the right body spend decades of our life and dollars trying to shrink, tuck, and tame ourselves into the right body, all the while forfeiting precious space on this planet because we don't feel entitled to it. We too are out of balance. Some of us have no problems taking up space. Google manspreading, while others move closer to invisibility daily. I long for a mutiny of space. May there be 10 million wheelchairs, canes, service dogs, and mobility aids on every street in every country. Let there be double seats for every fat body, and may every boardroom and decision-making entity be brimming with young and old, black, brown, and transgender bodies. Taking up space we have previously been denied is a step toward bringing a just balance of power and resources in the world. It is an act of radical love.
So for the last year or so here at OUC, we've been working on a new accessibility practice, giving visual descriptors for the speakers in the worship services. This practice is more inclusive of those who cannot see the speaker, whether for reasons of blindness or vision impairment or because of technology. And this practice has brought us some interesting issues of identity and how we claim our own self-identities. For instance, when someone gives a visual description of themselves as being older, others have come up to them after to tell them that they are not old. One person's sense of their own identity doesn't match with another person's perception of them. I first encountered the practice of visual descriptors at the annual General Assembly of the Unitarian-Universalist Association. And at this year's General Assembly, all speakers were asked to provide a visual description of themselves. Now, this year, General Assembly was all virtual, and many of our OUUC General Assembly attendees gathered for a watch party together here. As speakers gave their visual descriptors, we noticed that many of us felt uncomfortable with speakers self-describing themselves as fat. So here is another time when the way people self-identify may be difficult for others to understand. Why would someone claim fat as an identity and claim that without shame? Claiming identity and proclaiming it is another way of taking up space. It is akin to saying, "Here I am, and you will see me." Many people are socialized to believe that this is not okay, that we are supposed to hide who we are, or if we cannot truly hide it, at least downplay it. Examples such as, think of gay men have been encouraged to just not be so flamboyant. Disabled people have been asked to pretend that they're abled. Pregnant people have been shrouded in loose clothing so no one could tell that they were pregnant. Neurodivergent people have been expected to mask and behave, quote unquote, normally. And people with scars have had to cover them with literal masks. Some of these stigmas have been lowered over time, and others are still very active. And what do shame and stigma have in common across all these identities? They serve to marginalize and disempower people who don't conform to a controlled norm. Now, some of this is believed to be an evolutionary trait for humans. The thought is that we evolved with two urges: to establish our own dominance in a hierarchy of competition for food and mates, and with another need to be part of a group like us and avoid those who are not us. So there may very well be some aspect of bias that is nature. And there is another aspect of it that is by social design. And we as individuals have absorbed both of these. So if you as an individual recognize that you have bias or a desire to not be confronted with certain realities of humanness, that's understandable. You've been soaking it up your whole life and possibly inheriting it in your DNA. That said, once we know better, we can do better. Unpacking and examining our biases and ultimately choosing a different way is one of the profound ways we grow as spiritual people. So returning to the specific identifier of fat, this is one bias that our society is only beginning to confront. Fat shaming is still considered okay by many, or not recognized for what it is. Body shame is reported by almost everyone who is considered overweight, and many others who are not. And body shame is clinically connected with depression, addictive behaviors, and exercise avoidance. So even under the framework of needing to lose weight, body shame is counterproductive. Now let me share a little personal story here. About 10 years ago, I was riding my bike home from church through downtown. And now to place myself on the spectrum of fatness, I am the large end of standard, meaning that I still fit inside clothing sold in the regular sizes at stores, although I am the largest of those sizes. So the stigma that I face in our society because of my size is middling, and I recognize that others face much greater challenges. But to return to my story, I'm riding my bike through downtown on 4th, and a car full of young men slows down to match pace with me in the next lane. They roll their windows down so that they can moo at me like a cow. They did this for 2 straight blocks, while I biked and tried my best to seem unaffected and ignore them. This was one incident, and I still ride my bike in public, but not everyone does. Some people don't face incidents like this only once. Some people have this happen multiple times. And some people internalize the fact that they can't be seen on a bike or jogging or in a swimsuit or doing whatever without the danger of being harassed and body shamed. Now, this shame serves as social control. And as Sonia Renee Taylor wrote in our first reading today, it leads some of us to forfeit space and move toward invisibility. Some of us work to cut ourselves down to size, snipping off parts of ourselves, either physical or other aspects of who we are. We might stop laughing because somebody told us it sounded weird. We might stop smiling because we're embarrassed by our teeth, or we hide our real feelings and needs. Others hide behind unhealthy coping mechanisms or addictions, or literally hide and stop going into spaces like beaches, gyms, etc. So some of us give up space, resources, and other power because we don't feel entitled to it. And I say we here because at certain times in my life I've done this too. This shame is about sizeism and ableism, and it is about white supremacy and patriarchy, and it is about capitalism. This shame is reinforced by all systems that teach that some people are objects to serve others, and that we have to be productive, self-sufficient, and earn our basic right to exist. These philosophies tell us that people can be a burden, that we are not loved and inherently worthy of dignity and care for simply existing. So one step is for those of us who have internalized these messages and this shame to shed it and live unapologetically, to take up our space. Disabled poet and activist Laura Hershey wrote, "Remember, you weren't the one who made you ashamed, but you are the one who can make you proud. You get proud by practicing." So let me tell you another personal story. When I was young and impressionable, Someone very important in my life told me that there are two kinds of horses, show horses and work horses. And I am no show horse, so I better learn how to work hard. Now, this shaped the way I lived my life for decades. And then, in the last few years, after much therapy and spiritual development, I realized something. I realized that this entire model is a false binary based on false premises. Horses don't exist to be either pretty or hardworking. They just exist to be horses. Horses don't run because it's pretty or useful. They run because they want to. I don't need to be either pretty or hardworking to deserve to enjoy my life. I am alive, and that is enough. I can live for myself. Now, I don't know who here needs to hear this, but this is true for you too. You can live for yourself. You are alive, you are here, and that is enough. We can live unapologetically, joyfully, imperfectly, and proudly. We get proud by practicing. We get proud by saying, "This is me," by taking up space, by being ourselves, by claiming the identity we feel to be true to who we are. We get proud through practicing.
Our next reading is an excerpt from We Have to Stop Thinking of Being Healthy as Being Morally Better by Aubrey Gordon. Healthism was coined by Robert Crawford in a 1980 paper for the International Journal of Health Services. In the 1970s, the US had seen a wave of renewed interest in holistic health and wellness, and Crawford was wary of how that investment in health was curdling into a perceived responsibility to seem healthy to others. He defined healthism as the preoccupation with personal health as a primary, often the primary, focus for the definition and achievement of well-being. A goal which is to be attained primarily through the modification of lifestyles. That is, for Crawford, healthism flattens the health of whole populations from a dynamic and multifaceted issue with many and varied influences to a dynamic and to a simple matter of personal responsibility. Crawford saw health as an inherently political, a reflection of systems that create and perpetuate poverty, racism, misogyny, and more. But under healthism, health was an individual matter, not a systemic one, which meant that the individual was primarily responsible for their own health.
So this idea of healthism may have first been coined in the 1980s, but I connect it to an even older idea, namely that health is an outward sign of moral goodness. And if being healthy means you are good, then the inverse truth is that being unhealthy means a person has done something wrong. Health is a truly complex reality, a mix of genetics, environmental exposures, the quality of healthcare received, social and economic realities, personal lifestyles, and sometimes just the luck of the draw. But in our overly individualistic culture and under the myths of meritocracy, we flatten the complexity into a question of personal choices. Kate Bowler, a scholar of the Christian prosperity gospel, wrote this in her book about her cancer experiences and this theology called Everything Happens for a Reason and Other Lies I've Loved. Quote, I've had hundreds of people tell me the reason for my cancer, because of my sin, because of my unfaithfulness, because God is fair, because God is unfair, because of my aversion to Brussels sprouts. I mean, no one is short of reasons. When someone is drowning, the only thing worse than failing to throw them a life preserver is handing them a reason, end quote. The prosperity gospel is not a new idea, although it has a very modern, late-stage capitalism look to it. Essentially, the prosperity gospel teaches that God rewards and punishes people in this lifetime with material or other successes. This is a theology that says that God loves the rich, and that their riches are a sign of that love. And God loves the perfectly healthy, and their health is a sign of their goodness and that love. As Kate Bowler's book title says, everything happens for a reason. How does all of this relate to body shaming? In body positivity and fat liberation communities, they call a certain common type of shaming health trolling. Health trolling, also sometimes called concern trolling, is to harass a person about their weight because of a stated concern for their health. It's to say to someone, I'm just so concerned about your health, that's why I need to say something about your size or weight. It's also used as an argument against body positivity and acceptance when people say that they just can't support people having unhealthy lifestyles. Health trolling is part of healthism. It is the assumption that people are as they are because of their personal choices, and that if they made different choices, they'd be cured. It flattens all of the complexity into a matter of personal individual choices. But there is real complexity. There is the complexity that our standards of quote-unquote normal bodies and weight were created as part of white supremacy and patriarchal norms that only considered white male bodies as typical. The history of the body mass index, or BMI, which is used to decide if someone is overweight or not, is steeped in racism and sexism. And it's not just the BMI. The history of Western medicine has so many more examples of bias in research and who gets to decide what is normal and healthy. Then there is the complexity of the fact that health inequities match other inequities in our society. There is a correlation between being overweight and poor health outcomes. There is also a correlation between being Black or brown, being poor, being trans, being disabled, being a woman, or other marginalized identities, and poor health outcomes. These are systems-level failures, not individual personal choices. And a final complexity, that our assumptions about other people are often inaccurate and no one owes you their personal health details. They don't owe that to anyone around them. Health trolling is invasive and paternalistic. It assumes that we can know what is best for others. And for anyone who is chronically ill, demanding health before they are worthy is unreasonable and cruel. So how can we hold those complexities, avoid healthism and health trolling, while still honoring health and wellness? There has been powerful work done here by disability theologians. Julia Watts-Belser shares in her book, quote, Loving Our Own Bones, Disability Wisdom and the Spiritual Subversiveness of Knowing Ourselves Whole, quote, among disability theologians today, it's become common to distinguish healing from cure. Cure points to the elimination of disease, or at least the eradication of symptoms. But healing has a much larger valence. We speak of healing presence, recognize healing moments, and understand healing as a process, a movement toward greater wholeness, well-being, comfort, and ease. The distinction between healing and cure affirms that healing can unfold for us regardless of whether we experience physical change in our bodies or minds. It decouples healing from a specific medical outcome, and it allows us to call for the promise of healing without insisting on the eradication of disability. Healing can happen for all of us." End quote. Cure, or health with an uppercase H, has a history of being used against people. Healing is softer. Healing says that yes, our bodies are and always will be imperfect. And we can experience healing even within these frail and imperfect bodies. Another framework is offered by Sonia Renee Taylor in The Body is Not an Apology. Taylor calls this framework the 3 pieces. Make peace with not understanding, make peace with difference, and make peace with your body. So we make peace with not understanding all the whys, the reasons. Sometimes there is no reason for the cancer or other conditions. Not everything happens for a reason. Not everything is within our control or our understanding. And that's hard, but we try to make peace with it. And we make peace with difference. What is right for me may not be right for someone else. What I find devastating, you might just brush off as inconsequential. We are all different. There is no standard or norm to measure against, and we try to make peace with that. And the third piece is to make peace with your own body. Not to celebrate everything or love everything. I don't have to love my painful arthritic joints, but we try to make peace with our bodies. A final framework that is important is that health is a community issue. Our OUUC mission statement says that we work for a healthy world. What is a healthy world? I don't believe it is a world where no one is ever sick, where there are no disabled people, no fat people, no aging, and no death. No, I believe a healthy world is a world full of healing and care. One where we extend love and dignity and care to all bodies, and one where all people can joyfully take up space. It is a world with healthy food and health care available for all, and it is a world of canes and service animals and wheelchairs and double chairs for larger bodies. Julia Ward-Belser puts it this way in Loving Our Own Bones, quote, "It reminds me of a story I heard from Rabbi Margaret Winning about a deaf child in her religious school. A teacher once promised the child, 'One day in the world to come, you'll be able to hear.' And the child looked back and said, 'No, in the world to come, God will sign.'" Belser also shares the words of the prophet Jeremiah describing how the people will come to God. "The blind and the lame among them, pregnant women and women with children together, they will return here as a great assembly on a level road on which they will not stumble." Belser writes, quote, "My own dreams linger on the promise of a level road, a road on which no one stumbles. I like to think it's God's gift of access, a long, smooth ramp that cuts through once inhospitable terrain, one that offers all of us a way back home." End quote. Our work at OUUC for a healthy world can be the work of smoothing the road. We can work for access, for an end to body shaming, and for healing for all. We can affirm that all are worthy at any size, all are worthy at any ability or level of disability. All are worthy. We are here We are alive. We are loved. Let us take a moment together for silent reflection.
Let's rise and sing together hymn number 1053. How could anyone? How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. Thank you.
If you are online and have a chalice or candle, please join us as we extinguish our chalice with the words of Carrie Hawley Hurt. Love holds you. Love bears witness to all your inherent dignity and worthiness. It witnesses how you try, succeed, and fail, and it does not flinch. Love will not let go. Love holds all of you. Go in peace. Go in joy. Go in love.
think that little baby was born last night. Because the female was here all